Good Friday evening. Good Friday evening, everybody. I am hoping that you all can hear me. I'm going to play an intro really, really quick. Let's check our sound. And before we get started, I'm going to play this intro, Tanya, just to make sure everybody can you hear me? Can you hear me? You can hear me? I can't hear you. Okay. I'm going to fix it. All right, let's run this intro. We're talking about the mass shooting at Oxford High School here in Michigan. The young man, Ethan Crumbley, I believe is his name, has been charged with first degree murder, amongst other charges, terrorism, and some others. They were looking for the parents who were abscounding some hours ago. However, there's been an update to that information as well. We're also talking about updates on the vaccine wars and the OMICRON variant, as well as some other stories that Tanya has to share. So, it's Friday. We're chilling. I got to fix the sound. So let me run the intro real quick and we'll be right back. Yeah, so we got a few people in here. Thanks for joining us, everybody, on this grand Friday night. We are just here chilling and talking about some things that is going on. A lot is going on.
This is the time of year when things get so busy and so crazy.
It's getting, you can tell it's getting towards the holiday season and towards the end of the year too. A lot of stuff happens at the end of the year.
Yes, it does. And I mean, people are just, I went out to get some food, before we got started and everything. And I pulled out of my complex onto the main road and traffic is ball backed up. They've got some 5-car pile up and cars flipped over, fire trucks. It was just bananas. I mean, I'm like, oh my God, I can't even get food. It took me probably an hour and 20 minutes to do that. And normally this would take me probably 15 minutes.
Wow.
Because it's just up the street.
Nothing, everything is going on. On my way. Oh, okay. On my way to YouTube. Hey, Laverne. Verne's Junk Closet. Thank you, sis, for joining us. What is she saying? Hello, my queen. Let me see. Hold on a second. I just want to see who all is in here. Hello, my queen sisters. How are you?
Hi there,
hey, that's Verne's Junk Closet, Tanya. Yeah.
How are you,
Thank
superstar?
You so much. Welcome in, everyone. Very supportive. Thank you so much. And also the Fly Nubian. Listen, next, the Fly Nubian, no, Bohemian, next Friday, the 10th, she and I are going to do a collaboration, the Fly Mohibian. Bohemian, goodness gracious, I cannot say
Bahamas.
Anyway, she does jewelry, and it's very inexpensive, beautiful pieces if you want to gift them or whatever the case may be. There are some pieces I'm going to get for myself, but at any rate, she's going to come on and we're going to show some jewelry and stuff like that, and it's going to be great right at the holiday season. We have some more things coming up that is still going on with Verne's Junk Closet and so on. So there's going to be some things coming up soon. So where do you want to start, sis? You want to start?
Well, I really want to talk about this shooting at the high school, because they just put out a new news alert, just came out 15 minutes ago, and it says the lawyers for Michigan shooter's parents say they are returning for arraignment. So apparently, and I didn't know this, that the night of the shooting, they left town. Said they left for protection.
They did.
And they said that they're going to be on their way back for the arraignment, because the parents are now going to be charged with manslaughter. Because, the mom was fooling around with the boy the day before or something like that. This gun was a Christmas present for him.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I was told, and I'm reading rather, the mother was showing him how to use the gun, and that her thoughts was that, okay, we're going to use this gun and hopefully you won't get in any trouble. But this is what she was saying, is that that the mom had posted a text saying mom and son day trying out his new Xmas present, and she was saying that you should not get caught, LOL, dad found gun to be missing. So it's like, wow, 15 years old, you got your son out here with a gun. And in the South, of course, it's not uncommon for young people to have and use guns. I mean, I'm not going to say use guns, but carry or whatever, because it's an open state here in Georgia. As long as the gun is in a holster, you don't have to have a weapons.
Well, you got folks here in the Midwest that do a lot of hunting and stuff like that too. So they'll take their children, they'll purchase guns and things like that, but not assault weapons though.
Yeah, but they said that this guy, he was having some mental stuff. He was having some mental things. They said that he was drawing on his desk and asking for help because he knew something was wrong with him mentally. He drew pictures on his desk of gun with blood, etc., saying the world is bloody. I mean, so this child is disturbed. Parents are not looking and sometimes taking their kids' mental issues seriously. And we need to be careful with that. This is serious with these children. And it's been going on since, what was it, Columbine back in what? That was 15, 20 years
that
ago?
was in the 90s.
Yeah, I mean, it's just too much. I know we're in a world where things are going to happen. I get that. But some of it is so preventable. And my thing is, one of my friends, he started teaching his children when they were like 11 and 12 how to use a firearm. And his main reason for that was because he worked midnights. He says, my children are left alone with just their mother. And if something was to happen, I want them to know how to properly use the firearm to defend themselves and their mom. So they know how to use the gun, but he showed them gun safety. He said he was taking them to the shooting range. So his reason was not to have them learn how to use a gun to go out here and maliciously kill anybody because you're mad at them today or something like that. It was for protection. And he says, I wanted them to know how to use the gun to protect their family, protect the family and themselves. I didn't want them to go out here and have a gun and be afraid and then something happens. And this whole situation, buying him this gun at 15, you doing what you're doing, and I can get it with wanting to share and show because of the way things are, but I don't know. This situation here seems a little bit unearthly to me, and I don't know. I'm just waiting to see because
it's been a couple of updates. I want to address some of the questions that's in the chat. Hi, Reverend Cohill. Reverend Cohill is here.
Hello, Reverend Cohill.
Who gives a child a gun for a Christmas present? Exactly. And the thing is that they had a thing where they showed that the mom, initially they thought that it was the child that was brandishing the gun on social media, but they realized that it was the mother's Instagram post showing the gun, talking about, me and my son are bonding. We're going to try out this gun. The Fly Bohemian says, I was a senior in high school during Columbine. It really changed everything. It did, but I'm not sure exactly what, because these killings are at these schools are getting worse. No one cares about the gun violence that went on for years in our inner city schools. Exactly.
But the inner city schools, they haven't been attacked. I'm sorry to cut you off, but the inner city schools has not had as many incidences as the suburban schools. And the schools, what you think?
Well, I need to look at the numbers. I think that from what I saw today, True Fellowship Ministry says the parents should be held responsible for at least the gun. They are that's Elder Robert talking. Mental illness is real. So there's a couple of things I want to say. I don't know if the inner city school shootings are worse than the suburbias. It does seem like that the suburban areas have more of this problem. But
I think that when it comes more so to the to the inner city schools, they're more so gang related. they're looking for, tough response. It's more gang related, I think, than it is with these people trying to shoot up someone because of being bullied, having issues going on with somebody personally. You see that more than you see the inner city, because those are usually gang initiated type things. When you're seeing those shootings, they're not personal like this fella here and a lot of these other ones. These things that are happening, like, in Florida, what was that, 2-3 years ago? These are situations where they're going after several people. The things with the gangs and stuff like that is rivalry type stuff. And I'm not saying one is better than the other. Don't get me wrong. It's all, messed up no matter what the situation is. But these things that are happening to me, where you see multiple people being murdered at these schools, they're killing and going after them. And it's a very, very alarming situation. And see, those schools out there in those areas, they don't have metal detectors and stuff like that, like they do at the inner city schools. It's not, it's easier for them to get weapons in more than it is for the than the inner city schools, because most of the inner cities,
but that should change as well, because they have a problem on their hands, whether they want to acknowledge it or not. Yeah. I have to look at it some more, but I want to address a couple of things here. Elder Robert says that the parents should be at least charged for the gun. Well, what we're finding out is that both parents each have 4 counts of manslaughter. Mm-hmm. The son was charged with first-degree murder, terrorism, and some other charges. He has over a dozen charges. But the mom and dad has 4 counts of manslaughter. They were assuming, they had put out this BOLA alert that you see on the screen some hours ago, saying that basically that they were abscounding. But since that point, their attorneys have contacted media and said that they were on their way back into town. They basically said that they left town to for their own safety. I guess that they felt that they would be attacked. Now, here's the other update that I just saw right before we went live, is that the father, whose name is James Crumbley, has a child in Florida who's now 18 years old. The mother of that child said that these people, they give this child, Ethan, that did the shooting, I guess this is their only child together, that they give him everything, they don't discipline him and things like that. That's part of the reason why the prosecutor said that they were charging the parents when they saw those text messages that you just read, Tanya. Uh-huh. Yeah, when they saw the text messages and the mother is saying, LOL, I'm not mad at you, you just have to learn not to get caught, and all of those types of things, that is what caused them to go ahead and charge them. But it's interesting because this is almost identical to the Kyle Rittenhouse thing.
Yeah, exactly. Another parent involved.
Little writings and internet searches allegedly, about killing people. He had some kind of fantasy about killing people as well. And his mother, listen, folks, to have these kids, giving them access to these guns is just no good.
It's not. It's
just no good. I don't know, why they feel this is necessary. But I just don't, but the other thing is what Reverend Cohill was saying, is that the Fly Bohemian says, parents, get therapy for your kids, get some for yourselves. This is so sad. It really is.
I agree with her. This is really,
it really tragic. Is.
I mean, this is, it's just too much.
Yeah, it is. These are the kids. I want to put their picture up.
Oh, the 4 students that were murdered.
Yeah, I want to put their picture up. The young man that was crying and whatever. Um,
And there's no motive yet.
their
They haven't said, was he being bullied?
classmates.
Right. There's no motive. Was he being bullied? I mean, what was
They
this
don't
his
have a motive
reason?
yet.
Yeah, what is his reason that he decided to take a gun to school and
He
go shoot?
actually pled innocent.
Did he? He pled guilty, innocent?
He pled innocent.
Huh. Okay.
But see, this is what I'm saying. It's almost identical to the cow. It's almost a copycat.
Probably.
Because, Kyle Rittenhouse pled innocent and got off with self-defense.
Well, I was just reading some information that they said that there were several copycat. Hold on one second. Let me get back to it. That there were several copycat situations that had occurred with these shootings at other schools that just happened, and that none of them was Detroit public schools. They were not in any of them, but they said that there were several schools that had these threats for shootings and stuff, and that they had to shut down schools.
Okay. Yeah, I think there was some other copycat threats and stuff like that.
Yeah, this was they didn't say what school districts were involved, but they did say that they didn't see anything for DPS schools. But I mean, I don't know what's going on with these young people today, that they are out here with so much bravery in terms of wanting to go shoot up schools, the kids, the staff. I mean, don't get me wrong, there were some days in high school I probably wanted to karate kick somebody to the throat too, but I definitely didn't think about going to get a gun. I just wanted to beat you up.
Well, that's the whole thing.
In our they don't
day,
fight no more. They just go get guns and start killing.
You use your fists and you live to fight another day.
Right. I mean, what happened on the last day of school? You're like, okay.
This is the problem now is that you have these parents that is purchasing guns for, underage children. I just, I don't know.
Yes, it's a lot.
I don't know. I don't get it. I just don't get it. Elder Brown says, so sorry for the death of these children. Absolutely. I mean, it's just crazy. Now, the National Institute of Health, NIH, did a thing a few years ago. I put an article up on the website. I'll probably post it again. That denies the fact that mental health is even involved in these mass shootings. But we'll have to take a look at it, because this is going to be going on for a while. It's going to be interesting to see exactly how they're able to finesse this innocent pleading. If they're going to go for self-defense, I don't know how they're doing this now.
Yeah, because they haven't actually said what the involvement was of these children that were murdered. I mean, hey, was he trying to date the girls? They rejected him, or
no.
Was he being bullied? What was the reason for what has occurred? I mean, not that
it just sounds like he had a fantasy to kill people.
Yeah, I mean, not to say that there's any excuse for what he did because of this, that, and the third, but the whole thing about it is like you said, give me something to tell me why you decided to go out here and kill all of these people. And the guy up at the top, the Tate Myre, Myre is his last name, they said that he was trying to get the gun from the shooter. And that's how he ended up getting shot. And I think he died either yesterday or this morning.
Yeah, he died today, yeah.
So,
Justin, it was Justin, wasn't it? I think Justin died today.
Oh, Justin died today? Okay, because I thought I saw on the news that Tate had died. But as far as I know, from the information I saw on the world news, it was showing that Tate was trying to take the gun or get the gun from him, and he was shot.
Yeah.
And I don't know about the girls. And like I said, I didn't get
I think it's random.
Yeah. And I mean, the whole thing wasn't that I haven't gotten any information about it yet, because of course Michigan's going to get more information than I would here in Georgia. What made him pull the gun out? Did he just start did he pull the gun out and just start randomly shooting and
I
pointing it
think
at
so.
people? You know, was he in the classroom, exactly where he was? Was he in the hallway? I don't know.
Yeah. I think he just went down the hallway, looked into classrooms from what I saw so far. If there was people in those rooms, he's just shot up those rooms. As a matter of fact, they said that even once he was apprehended, he still had 18 rounds left. The Fly
Wow.
Bohemian says it's the denial of mental health issues that perpetuate more of this. People are in denial. That's true, but the thing of it is, we have to try and look at here's my thought process as far as these school shootings. I think that we have come to a place now where we have to start looking at the um, identifying these children who have these types of issues, violent propensity to violence sooner, like in early childhood. Because one of the things that they do, I do know that one of the part of the psychological evaluation of children is they look at how they play, like if they have destructive behaviors in their play,
Right,
or
exactly.
if they're a child that tries to torture the family dog or something.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
these these types of things are supposed to be quote unquote warning signs that
You
these
got a
these
psychopath
children
on
may
your
be
hands.
violent
Yeah.
as violent adults. Yeah.
And like I said, so many times things are overlooked because they say, oh, they're just kids. They just playing. They're not for
Right.
real. And these things are building
No.
up, and there's layers and layers and layers of things that start developing until it just starts going crazy. And then you got
Yeah.
this situation that's happened here. Because if they were saying that this child was not really being disciplined, who knows what his behaviors were at home? Who knows what his behaviors were when he
Yeah.
goes out in public? People have a thing where now, oh, I don't want to spank him. We're going to talk. We're going to do this. That can work in some instances and for some children. It's not everybody that can follow that type of protocol in terms of saying you can't do something to discipline your child. And sometimes just saying, okay, I'm taking this away from you. You're going to go sit over here and be quiet and do that. That doesn't work for certain people. It doesn't.
No.
They want to say, well, you shouldn't spank your child. You shouldn't do this. Sometimes a butt whooping makes a change.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell
Absolutely.
you, most of my children's upbringing, I was pretty much a single parent. And they'll tell you right now, back in the day, my mother did not play. And I
Right.
raised two boys that have been, successful, citizens to
Right.
society. Thank God they've not had any children. I mean, I'm sorry, not any children, but any issues with them when they were in school. They finished school, graduated, have careers, and are great Black men. But
Right.
even when they were younger and I was raising them, it wasn't nothing for me to knock them upside the head. Look, we're not gonna do that. Why am
Yeah.
I? Because I'm the
I
mama.
remember.
Yeah.
I remember.
My kids knew for a minute. As I told them, while your friends may be out there getting away with it with their parents, you're gonna be
Yeah.
getting your butt whooped. So
Yeah.
you make that
Absolutely.
decision on what you want to do with. She said,
Listen,
warm that backside up.
Bohemian says,
Yes.
listen, warm that backside up.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
honey.
Yes, Miss
Listen,
Moss.
and she is so right about that. Listen, as the old folks would say, spare the rod, spoil the child.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it really is something that has to be looked at because, they've got it so now that, the parents, it was something I was looking at one time and the lady was breaking it down and she said, listen, the school boards is scared of the teachers is afraid of the school boards, the parents is scared of the parents, and the parents are scared of whoever, but she said everybody is scared of the children.
Right. Somebody is
Yeah,
scared of the children, and these children know that they can get, well, if you whoop me, you do this, I'm gonna call the police. And I'll be calling, and I'm gonna give them your bag, and they can take you on with them when they leave. I
absolutely.
mean, it's
Yeah,
a difference to discipline as opposed to abuse. That's a
right.
totally different thing. I mean, when you're talking that you're disciplining somebody physically and you're beating them down, that you're usually that type of abuse is just really for no reason. And they're just
Yeah,
abusing you because they're angry. That's a different situation. Or if it's that the child is so upset because they can't get any attention from a parent or from the house or whatever, then they go out here and start doing all this craziness. I
right.
know I cannot justify or talk about everybody's situation and what goes on in their home. I can only really talk about mine, but at the
Mhm.
same time, coming from the upbringing that I had, the way I wanted to see my children was not to be out here causing trouble, being in trouble, because I don't have time for that. We're not going to have that. And then I had to always let
Yeah,
them know, be honest with me about what goes on. Let me know, because I can't help you if I don't know. Now,
right,
if you got
right.
something
I
going
can't
on,
protect you if you don't tell.
yeah,
Yeah,
I can't do that if I don't know what's going on. But
right.
at the same time, this is why you make rules. This is why you establish them, because like I used to tell them when I would leave them at home as they were growing up, don't answer the door, don't do this, don't do. But mom, what about the reason why
Right.
I'm saying these things are to keep you safe.
Try to
I don't
keep you
want
safe.
anybody coming over here playing video games and I'm not home, because if something happens to them, what if they trip and fall down the steps?
That's right.
Anything can happen. You guys
That's
may
right.
try to do something to fix you something to eat, and then this happens or
People
that.
have lost that type of parenting. Hold on a second, because the fly bohemian is really dropping some jewels right now.
Yeah.
Listen, she was talking about how her mother would make her go pick out her own switch. I remember them days too.
Yes. Who
I
what? You be
remember
like,
them days,
oh God. You be like,
and no bring
oh.
no weak one back.
Right,
They-
right.
But she said something really, really powerful. Not chastening your kids in any way
That's a form
is
of abuse.
a form of abuse. That is absolutely the truth.
Yeah, I think that
I
is a
mean,
very
listen,
powerful thing to
I mean,
say.
it said that biblically, if there's no chastisement, that you hate your child.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you can't possibly be. She's cracking up. You can't possibly be serious about preparing them for the world, and all the world is going to swallow them up.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you give them everything and let them get away with everything, it's just poor. They're not trained to deal with real life. Nobody else in the world is going to treat them like that.
And then what happens is when they have situations where they are not able to handle certain circumstances happening, like just simply playing on the playground, and then they miss their turn or don't get a turn. Then they start plotting, oh, I'm going to get them because they didn't give me the ball. I'm going to get them because they threw that ball at me. You don't realize you're
Yeah,
playing. You're
yeah,
taking something that's supposed to be fun, and now you've gotten angry and mad, and you want to do something to your classmates because you didn't like what they did to you. Well,
right. You want to
honey,
shoot
the
up the
world is
school,
full of I don't like and what's going to happen, and if you're not preparing them for that, then all
right?
kinds of other madness cuts loose. And like you said, look at this situation right here.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
because again, like I said, right before we came live, I was looking at a news report that was talking to that father's other child's mother. She's down in Florida, and she said these people are monsters. They need to go to jail.
this is
She said,
his
I know
other
firsthand
child.
how
Oh
they
wow.
have raised this boy.
So she agrees already with what everybody's saying, that they made that monster. They created this
Yes,
monster. Mm.
yes. So it's very interesting. I want to move on because I don't want to hold everybody late tonight. I want to talk about the Omicron variant. Now let's talk about this really quick, guys, because I think that there's going to be something interesting going on with this variant. Has that pill come out? Mr.
I'm
100
not
pounds.
sure.
I love people. Salute to all. Hello, Mr. 100 rounds. Thank you for joining us. Have they come out with that pill yet that's supposed to treat COVID? Have
I'm
you
not
heard anything
sure.
else about
I
that?
know that it was very close to being completed, but I don't think it's out. I still think that they're doing studies or testing it rather. I think they're still doing placebos on it.
Yeah. Well, from what I'm seeing so far, they're thinking that this Omicron variant, apparently it's been 17 cases located in the United States at this
Yeah, they
point.
just had one
It
here
was
in
just one
Georgia.
case yesterday. Now it's 17.
Yeah, they had a guy they just exposed here in Georgia that was flying from South Africa. He was here for 2 days and now he's gone over to New Jersey. So haven't heard much as to what's going on with him, if they have found that he's sick or ill, but he did was found what's the word I'm looking for? He was found to be carrying it. So I don't know what
Is
they're
this
gonna
the
do.
person that was in California?
No, this guy flew from South Africa to Georgia, was here for 2 days, and then left and went to New Jersey.
Yeah. I think Biden is closing our borders. Yeah, it's 17 already. It was one case in California yesterday. Now it's 17. Do me a favor, guys. If you are on, especially those, please hit the like button. Please give us a thumbs up. It's going to help our algorithms and all of that good stuff. But yeah, it's already 17 cases. So now they're saying that this is probably going to be the dominant variant. It's going to take over the Delta variant. And please be aware, those of you that have had the Pfizer vaccine, they are saying that the Pfizer vaccine has zero efficacy to the Omicron variant.
I think they said the same thing about Moderna. So technically,
I haven't seen anything.
Yeah,
about
they did. They had it about the Moderna as well. So technically,
okay,
being vaccinated is perhaps not going to help.
Guys, updated as I find out, whatever. But yeah, I did see Pfizer has no
resistance to it,
to this variant at all.
Well, I mean, I said it's just something. It's so this is what they just said yesterday. They said the Moderna president clarified CEO. Oh, hold on, maybe they didn't do it right. Okay, hold on a second. Let me see if I can read this. So they said that oh God, I gotta get out of this because it's one of them things that's gonna start sending me 1,000 emails. So with the what is it called? Omicron,
yeah.
Omicron. They said that the COVID vaccine makers, what they're doing about it, and that I can't find it now, but I was reading because it's interesting for me because Moderna is what I had.
Yeah, me too.
And the Moderna says that the OMICRON variant vaccine could so they got to do another vaccine for this one because they said Moderna says what is it again? Omicron variant vaccine could be ready in early 2022. So you mean you got to get a vaccine for that particular variant? Wow.
Probably. Well, this is the problem, with the unvaccinated. So let me share this too, because let me let everybody know this. Yeah, that's me. If anybody wants to come on screen, please click the link. I dropped it in the chat. If you want to come on screen, if there's anything that you want to talk about. The Fly Bohemian says, what about the booster? Does that help with the resistance? I'm sure that the booster helps in some manner because it's creating antibodies.
Well, it could be, but they said that the booster was not going to be of any value toward those variants. Okay. And I mean, I just got my booster, like I said, a couple of weeks ago.
Elder Robert says, True Fellowship Ministries, is this not a money grab for the pharmaceuticals? Well, yeah, but I mean, pharmaceuticals are going to make money off of everything.
But we're not paying for it. but we're not paying for it. So I mean, I get what he's saying, but we're not paying for this vaccine. It's free.
No. Yeah.
Now, the money that is coming, I would imagine, must be coming from either people that are donating money for research, and I'm not sure how much the government may be paying them. But as far as the average consumer, we're not paying for any of this. We're losing nothing out of our pockets for this.
Yeah, we're not. That's a good point. Yeah, we're not
it's
paying
nothing.
for it. But I mean, even if it was a thing where I'm wondering, are they billing people's insurance when they have these?
They're not billing your insurance.
Okay.
Because when I go get mine, they don't even ask you for any insurance information.
Okay.
And then the thing about
I know I got mine at the hospital. I was there for something else, so I got it. But I wasn't sure. I said, I wonder, did they bill?
Because remember, when they first came out with that, they started telling people this is of no cost to you. These vaccines are free.
It's free.
They start paying people to get it. Like right now, we got a promotion going on here in the Atlanta area in DeKalb County. They're telling them they're giving out $100 Visa cards for them to go get vaccinated.
I think that was to the children.
No, these are period. This just came out. They just announced that, hey, if you're in DeKalb County, we're running vaccines tomorrow. Come get a vaccine, get $100 gift card. I mean, they're paying people. I'm like, I got my vaccine too early. I should have waited.
Elder Robert, the Fly Bohemian, is responding to you. She says, it is a money grab and still a health risk. These things are not mutually exclusive. I mean, all of those companies stand to make billions.
I mean, it's money in everything that we do.
Yeah. Hello, Gloria. Welcome. Available data on Moderna COVID-19 vaccine administered to pregnant women are insufficient to inform vaccine-associated risk in pregnancy. Yeah, see, I'm not sure exactly what's going on as far as Moderna. The only thing that I have seen so far is Pfizer. Mm-hmm. And that piqued my interest because I know that a lot of the seniors, because they were taking the vaccines to the senior buildings, remember they were coming out and just going vaccinating the seniors. They didn't come out. They didn't, have to leave their homes to get the vaccine. And the majority of them I know here in Michigan got the Pfizer.
You see what Mr.
OMICRON has mutations constellation that helps it evade the body's autoimmune system, making it the worst COVID so far. Yeah, they said that it's probably going to be the dominant variant. No question. They're already saying it. Here's what I want to tell everybody, though, that I found interesting is I was telling you about this earlier. Germany and I believe Australia. Oh. I know Germany for sure, but maybe it's one other country are mandating quarantine for the unvaccinated. Now, listen, this is very, very interesting. In those countries, as of today, and yet, well, I think Germany did it today, and the other country is flu season too. Yeah, you got to get the flu shot too.
She said she's never leaving the house. I mean, you know what? It's almost about to be that. I mean, we about to be stuck in here again.
Yeah, but here's what I thought was so interesting. Germany and Australia have mandated quarantine for the unvaccinated. People who are unvaccinated in those countries are not allowed in public. Go look it up. Tyrone Jackson, what is he saying? Oh, child, y'all be talking over my head. Miscarriage, 2 previous pregnancies with live births. I'm not sure what you're saying, Tyrone. You have to. He had
something, but it went away because he said he had no history of something. There's no history of miscarriages.
There's idea. Miscarriage was determined in January 21. There's no history of miscarriages. Moderna.
Then he said abortion, spontaneous, ultrasound.
Spontaneous abortion. Spontaneous abortion is miscarriage.
I mean, but how isolated is that? Is that ultrasound. One person, 2 people? Because I mean, anybody can have a miscarriage and
feel
have some type of
normal.
issue from taking that vaccine if they're pregnant. But study shows no benefit of flu shots for healthy adults. But that's
Oh,
from
okay.
2008. That's an
Yeah.
old finding. I don't know if I
It
would
might
trust
be.
something that
It might
old.
be. How do you ladies feel about the vax mandates at businesses and workplaces? We'll talk. Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah, because it's definitely at my job.
Elder Robert says, I can't see the U.S. being able to quarantine unvaccinated. Yeah, I can't
That's what
see
I
how they
said.
would pull that off here,
That's my thoughts.
but I'm just saying, wait for it.
But like you said, martial law, it could
They
push that
could
out there.
declare martial law and yeah, they can and make people stand out. Do you think people should be allowed to opt out? Yeah, I do.
I mean, it really should be your choice.
Yeah.
And I understand that if you don't want to take it, but then be very mindful of using other precautions. Wear your mask, make sure you're sanitizing and all of those things. I mean, but you got to think about it. When we were coming up in school, and I don't want to give our ages out or anything like that. Not that I'm not proud of that situation, but okay, we're 60 babies. So when we had to start going to school, you had to take those vaccines and you had to show proof. And your moms and stuff did not kick and scream about not making you go to the doctor and get those vaccines. You went and got those vaccines. You went in your good clothes. You took a bath. You did all that. And you went to the doctor and you got those vaccines and carried your tail on to school. I don't remember there being situations where kids were not coming to school because they were not being vaccinated. To me, that not being vaccinated started really becoming an issue, I want to say, in like the 90s. And parents did not want to start giving vaccines because they started being thinking that what's that disease that they give these kids that really is in the boys? What is that? Tony Braxton's son had it. What was that?
Oh, autism?
Yes. So they were relating the vaccines to autism, but the autism rate for the vaccines were higher in males than they were for girls. Mm-hmm. But that right there is what started a lot of parents not wanting to vaccinate their children, because that type of study started coming out and they started being fearful of believing that these vaccines were creating the autism, and especially with high number for boys.
Okay.
I don't know where they are with that research and study now, because of course I'm just not thinking about it. And then again, I never did have a whole lot of interest in trying to figure out and see why and how the autism was occurring. I mean, everything is going to have some type of fallback on it, no matter what it is. I mean, I'm the type of person, like I told you and we've discussed before, I've had all vaccines and everything, and I've never had any type of a setback. I got my vaccine for the flu and my booster 2 weeks ago on the same day. I had no problems. I came home, nothing. And, other than a sore arm, I had no issues with any of those vaccines at all. And like I said, I've had all 3 of my COVID. I get a flu shot every year, and I've been getting the flu shot every year for at least the last 20 something years. I've had the pneumonia vaccine. I have shingles. I've had hepatitis. I've had nothing that has given me any kind of problems when I've got any of those vaccines.
I haven't had any problems.
And I'm like, I don't know if this is something I need to worry about when I get into my 70s or 80s or something. But at the same time, if there's something out there that can help me to feel and be better, I'm interested.
Gloria Miller says 62% of patients who received the COVID mRNA vaccines tested positive for blood clots. 62%. That sounds a little high.
That sounds very high. I can't imagine that 62%.
That sounds a little high, Gloria. I don't know. Those vaccines in the 60s was MMR, measles, mumps, and rubella. This COVID shot is fresh.
And I do agree with you, Mr. 100 rounds. It is fresh. It is brand new. But, I rely and I depend on technology being at its all-time best right now because of everything that we have going on. I'm not as fearful because people say, "Oh, they made that vaccine too fast. It occurred too soon." I mean, we had the money for the research on it and to create it. We're in what 2021. The technology and everything that we have right now is much better to be able to get these type of things developed. Far as I can see and feel that I don't think that this was something that was just monkeyed around and created just to say we got something. I mean, some people that got that vaccine, they did get sick from it, and some have passed away from it. I mean, we know that there's nothing that's 100%, but at least you got some type of a foundational base for when you do get the COVID infection, that maybe having had the vaccine would be a better, would be some type of protection for you. You wouldn't be as sick as it would be to not have had it. Because like you said,
that's it. That's it. That's the whole thing. Now, here's the thing, because I remember the last time that we had this conversation in Vern's junk closet was asking the question. I want to put that question back on the table, and then I want to address the Fly Bohemian who was asking about the mandates. So one of the questions that she asked previously was, this is Vern's junk closet from the last live we had on the vaccines, was if you have had COVID, or I think that was the question. Vern, if I'm not saying it correctly, help me with the question that you asked before. If you already had COVID, why do you need the shot? My son's family of 7 is now in the POS. What is POS, Vern? But she was asking about why do you need the shot if you've already had COVID? Now, let me say this. Those people who have had COVID and survived, they have made it clear that they have more aggressive antibodies and more diverse antibodies, meaning that they have a varied, not just a varied amount of antibodies, but a varied amount of types of antibodies. And they are more protected from reinfection than those who only have vaccine-induced antibodies. Did y'all get that?
I did. And as an example, one of my managers at work, she contracted the COVID, and she did not get violently or very aggressively ill from it, but she was sick for quite a while, and she got the vaccine, and she says, I don't want to feel like I did when I had it. So if me getting the vaccine will help me, so that if I get it again, yeah, that's what she said. She said, so that if I get it again, I would not be as sick. She says, because I'm telling you, she said, that joker had me on my knees. And she's a pretty healthy person. Yeah. But, when it hits that respiratory, it doesn't matter who you are. Once you realize you can't breathe, that takes it all away right there. When you cannot breathe, you are about to leave up out of here. Because what do you need to do?
That's why I'll be glad when they go ahead and come up with something in terms of treating COVID, whether it's the daily pill. Well, people were saying something about taking a pill every day, but I don't think that you have to take the pill every day perpetually. I think that's only while you are contagious with the COVID. But the thing of it is that I'd be glad when they come out with now. More people are recovering from it than dying from it now, because they do have the experimental ivermectin and some other ones. Even the hydrochloroquine that Trump was touting erroneously in the beginning. There have been some cases where they have used that in conjunction with other medications, and people have recovered from the vaccine. So Vern was saying that she said a lot of the recovered are still living with long-term side effects. Yeah, they call them long haulers. D.L.
Yeah.
Hughley is one of them.
Yeah, he was talking about the things that he was having that
Yeah,
was occurring.
he's having a lot of issues. Alyssa Milano, who's the boss? I
Yeah,
think
the
she's the
daughter,
TV
she's
show.
on there.
Yeah, she's another one in terms of celebrities that they're having. And there is now somebody was saying something about problems with the J&J vaccination. The Johnson & Johnson vaccination is just not. It's just not. It's had a lot of problems.
Yeah, it never gave me any thoughts of wanting to have that one, but at one time I almost thought that was going to be the only one that I could get because I was having a hard time trying to get set up for the Moderna because they were running out and all that kind of stuff. But my thing is that even now, you still can't, if you got a loved one that gets sick, you can't even go into the hospital with them now. Because my friend just called me just tonight and told me that they've just rushed his mother to the hospital and they can't go to the hospital to even be there to comfort her, to be by her side because of COVID. He says they gave us a phone
Yeah,
number.
the hospitalizations are way up. As a matter of fact, a lot of states are bringing in the military hospital personnel
Again,
from the
again.
military. Vern is just saying her husband just had the J&J. Yeah, now the majority of the problems in terms of the myocarditis, the heart issues and things like that that I've seen post vaccination has been related more, and I think the blood clots as well, but I'm not sure. I will definitely double check it and come back to you guys, on another live and let you know what I find out, what I'm seeing. But I want to talk about the mandates for a second because the Fly Bohemian brought up the issue of mandates. Now, I'm going to say this about that. When you start talking about, like with the medical personnel, me personally, I think it's important that medical personnel and essential workers not only should be vaccinated, not only to protect the patients, but also to protect themselves. I don't know why
And
you would
yeah,
want to
and their
treat
families.
a
I mean, you
COVID
could.
patient and not have the vaccine. I don't know why you would want to do that.
Because as a, like you
But
said, as a working in the hospital, working emergency situations, you may not get sick, but what if you carry it home? Then you got your children, your wife, your parents, if they're living with you, somebody else that becomes ill from it, even though you don't, and you don't have the vaccine. So now you're a carrier, but you're spreading it to somebody else. That's a tough thing to deal with. And
yeah,
so
but
another thing that they're trying to say about it, oh, well, these people aren't just dying from COVID. It's because they have other situations and they die from that. It doesn't matter. The thing about it is you got COVID, and what it did was it inflated whatever else was wrong with you. And perhaps that is what made you end up passing away, because maybe you had congestive heart failure, or maybe you were a cancer patient or something already. But if you had never caught COVID, you wouldn't have had to worry about that. I mean,
yeah,
when Colin Powell passed away from it, they were, oh, but he was vaccinated and he still passed away. But he also was still ill, and he was trying to, I'm sure, thinking that getting the vaccine would help him because of these strong underlying medical conditions that he had. But regrettably, because of his age and because of the type of pre-medical issues he already had, it did not help him. And I'm sorry that happened. But that shouldn't be a reason to say, hey, I'm not going to go get the vaccine. It's some stuff, it's going to happen, period. It's just no way around it. And I mean, it was heartbreaking to know that he had this vaccine shot and turned around and became ill and passed away. And most likely he did not pass away for having COVID. It was the complications that he had prior to that were part of that. Smokey Robinson, I didn't know that until a couple of months ago, that he had COVID this time last year. And he said he was so ill
really,
from it. Yeah, he was hospitalized. I think he said 19 days or something. He said he couldn't talk. He said he didn't even think he'd be able to sing again.
yeah, he's up in age.
You're
Yeah,
right. I mean, he's in his 70s, and I'm pretty sure that he finds and thinks that he's a pretty healthy individual, because we've never heard about him having any type of situations health-wise. But again, this man is 70 something years old. He contracted the virus. He was hospitalized, and he said he was ill for a long time. And he just put that out maybe a couple of months ago. I think I was telling you about it. I was like, oh, wow, I didn't know Smokey Robinson had been infected and that he had been hospitalized. He said he was in the hospital for like 19 or 21 days from having COVID.
Yeah.
So that's a lot. And like I said, you know, it was so entirely scary when it first came out, until it was like, you know, you just was sitting in the dark thinking, oh my God, who's next? Because it was just knocking folks down. And especially in Michigan. Michigan was such a hot box with it until it was
we got
horrible.
hit hard.
It was horrible.
We got hit hard for sure.
Comment. He says, at the rate that people dying from COVID, do you think that people who don't take the vaccine and pass COVID to someone should face jail time, like people who transmit AIDS purposely do time? That's a tough one.
That's a good question.
It is. It's a tough one, and I understand exactly where he's coming from with that, because it's like, okay, well, since you don't want to take the vaccine, you know that you can become positive with it, or even if you don't get it, you're a carrier. You could be a carrier and don't get it, and you go out here and someone else gets infected. Should they face jail time? I get that, and that's so difficult to actually say yes, because AIDS and that is two different types of things. I mean, they're both are able to go out here and certainly infect society, and that makes a huge issue and difference.
Well, I think it's a matter of intent. You know, I would have to look at, for me, that would be an issue of malicious intent.
Yeah.
When you're talking about, you know, jailing someone, and then for how long? That's just such a loaded question. Vern, listen, I'm reading what you're saying about your grandkids and stuff, and listen, we're gonna have them in prayer. Elder Robert,
absolutely.
Ministry, Reverend Cohill is in here. Elder Robert and Reverend Cohill, if you guys are still here, please let me know. Please add them to your prayer list. Please, please, please. Yeah, that's rough. Yeah, the kids will probably recover much more easily. That's rough. Yeah, I would have to. That's a good question that he's asking. He said he asked because not everyone who gets the virus survives. Not comparing it to AIDS. It's the intent. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I get that.
The intent.
Yeah, and I get that. And that's one of the big things that they were saying, like, you know, the people that don't want to wear the mask, and you may be living in a home with elderly or older parents and relatives and stuff like that, and you don't believe that, oh, I'm not going to get it. It's not going to happen to me. But you're out here and you're unprotected. But again, you could end up just being a carrier and take it into the house. And that's something that you have to look at, because once someone that has age, that has underlying medical conditions, they contract it, but there's nothing really wrong with you. You may just have a few sniffles, a headache, or whatever the case may be.
J'aimerais manger un filet aux fiches, s'il vous plaît.
You came up here to troll. His name is Lost.
Oh.
Do you have a comment, sir? This is gonna be the worst.
Please.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
You have a comment, sir?
Je suis un troll vocal français.
Well, you may not realize this, but this is an English. English conversation, and we need English speaking.
He might
live. It's Friday night, whatever. Yeah, but it's very tough because like you said, you got a lot of young people that don't want to wear masks. They don't want to cover themselves. Like I went to get something to eat, and there were, I think out of the few people that were in there, only 2 or 3 of us was wearing a mask. And I thought to myself, you know, what if you picked this from somebody else and now you're taking it home?
Yeah.
So it's a lot to think about. I mean,
condolences to Mr. 100 Rounds. He said he lost his sister and his niece too. The Delta variant. So that's recent. Yeah, it's tough. It's Friday. It's Friday. He got a little juice. That's okay. French toast and French fries.
Like you say, take that somewhere else, because over here we're speaking English.
See, that's so loaded. When you talk about spreading COVID. Now, when it comes down to healthcare workers, I think it's a little different. I think that they would be held to a higher standard. It's a few trolls in here. It's okay. But I think they should be held to somewhat of a higher standard because they have people's lives in their hands.
Yeah.
And of course, you have the Hippocratic Oath and all of that kind of stuff. And it seems to be the nurses that don't, in terms of healthcare workers, who are fighting the vaccines.
I mean, even physicians were in some aspects. And I guess, like let's talk about getting onto the mandate. Well, even Congress is not mandated to have to take the vaccine. And that bothered me because if you want to push it out here on the American people to say that they need to take the vaccine, and if they're not, they're going to lose their jobs and things like that. But you're not even forcing Congress and Senate to take it. They're excluded from it. So if you can't get, that's just like, you the president of the United States and you running your house, you got your family in there. If you can't control your own house, how can you push it out here on us? I mean, I think in some instances, like Deborah has said, in certain situations, and especially in the hospitals and things like that, they should be vaccinated. And you should want to, because of what you're working around to help and make sure that you're not going to be catching it and be bringing it home to your family and other people and things like that. I mean, to push it and say, no, I'm not going to do it because I could lose my, if I'm going to lose my job, I'm going to lose my job. I don't know. It's certainly your choice and your decision, like I said, but in certain instances, I think it should be mandated, especially when you're around people and you're working with people. If you're not around a lot of people, around a lot of the public, then I can see that you may not want to get it. But if you're in a hospital setting, you working around these people that are already sick, the hospitals are already contagious with a lot of things anyway, staph infections, disinfection, whatever the case may be. Anyhow, but as nasty and as easy as it is to get COVID in those type of situations, because you are here treating and are around a lot of sick people, seem like to me that would make you want to get the vaccine. Say, look, give me something because I need to be protected. I understand that they're wearing, lots of protection and stuff like that, and you're using that as a defense for not needing and wanting to get the vaccine. But I still think it's, being in that situation is totally different. I mean, when I came out with my degree and everything, because it's in health, you had to take a drug test. You can't even get a degree in any type of a health field and not take a drug test before you get certified in it. So if I got to take a drug test, seems to me that you need to be getting that shot. Because whether or not I'm using recreational drugs, how is that going to, feed into me and the type of job that I'm getting? But it makes sense, because if you are here and you high off of something, whether it's street drugs or prescription drugs and all of that type of stuff, it's still going to affect what you do.
I probably am going to lose control over it tonight, Vern. I will definitely get that taken care of. Silver lining, their comments will boost your engagement. Fly Bohemian, I can't wait. I can't wait to have you on next week. She is too funny. Yes, honey. The COVID. Hello, Jean. So I guess everybody is not trolling, but it's kind of busy in the chat tonight. So, but
yes.
anyway, now what is happening with the mandates right now? As far as I know, the Supreme Court has. I think Bird is laughing at Fly Bohemian. She is too funny, Bird. She is hilarious. Take no consideration. The French people drink a lot of wine.
I guess I better push my wine intake up.
I love it. Don't be stingy. Y'all should have brought some to the party. Don't get drunk and come to the party.
Right.
Yeah. So,
they done did their happy hour.
Right. I don't know, but whatever. Yeah. So I think so far the Supreme Court is halting anything related to vaccine mandates. But I have to definitely get some understanding as to what's going on and what the legal
ramifications are.
Yeah, the legal ramifications of it is and what the legal justification is for blocking the mandates. That's what I was trying to say.
Right. I mean, some companies I think are still going along with forcing
justification is.
Yeah, some companies are still going along. I said some companies are still going along with mandating for their employees to become vaccinated. Like I said, mine is doing that. I mean, initially they were like, because we deal with government contracts, we had to follow the government, and that they were requiring that we be vaccinated by January the 4th. Well, now they've pushed that out and said that we have to be mandated by, I think it's January the 18th or something like that. And we have to provide proof that we are that we've been vaccinated. They're not forcing the booster, but you need to be fully vaccinated. And if you're not, then you need to provide reasons as to why you cannot be. If it's religious, if it's because of medical, they have to provide that.
I think one of the things that Biden was suggesting, and what a lot of the employers are doing, Fly Bohemian is talking to the people in the chat.
I see, yes.
But I think one of the things that Biden was recommending, and so a lot of the employers were doing, is if an employee refused to be vaccinated, that they have to be tested minimally on a weekly basis.
Right, and that test is
fair because we're in a pandemic. I like that better than taking somebody's job.
Yes, exactly, and I can agree with that.
But somebody from being able to feed their families and things like that. If you don't want to take the vaccine, then you have to submit to a weekly test and have your temperature taken every day. I think that's what a lot of the employers are.
Yeah, well, we have to do the temperature. Yeah, we have to do the temperature even before we enter the building. And then they give us like this bracelet that we have to put on every day to, let them know that we had our temperatures taken before we entered the building. And that's what they're doing. But I mean, that test is brutal. I know I don't want to take that test every week. But I had to take that first one. That first one, I almost want to karate chop that lemon to the third. I'm like, hold it. Wait. She just was whoosh.
Yeah, I know. The first time I had it, they had to keep doing it.
It really took me back. I couldn't talk for a couple of minutes. I had to catch my breath and everything. I'm like, what the world? Couldn't you have given me a warning that you're getting ready to do this? She just was sticking that thing up my nose. I said,
they can't because they already know you're not going to let them do it.
Yeah, I know. They have to get it done. They have to get it done, but I was like taken back for that joker. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't ever want to do this again. Then I had to do it again. I'm like, oh no, we need to get this
Yeah.
vaccine because I can't keep doing this test. This going up
Yeah.
my nose thing, because that thing felt like it was going down your throat. It's no way I
Oh,
want to
and
do that.
well, it feel like they're going up in your brain or something
Oh
when they
my
do that.
gosh, that thing was
It's
terrible.
not nothing nice. Now the antibody test is the blood work. Now
Right.
I will say this, everybody, in terms of testing, whether you're vaccinated or not, because we know now that they have breakthrough cases. So I would recommend that everybody, as much as possible, if nothing more than on a monthly basis, seeing your regular doctors and maybe getting the blood work done to find out what level of antibodies you have, so that you can determine if if you have. He said we that they are there in the chat tripping.
Yes.
But anyway, I would do that at least on, maybe every month or every couple of months or something like that. Just test even if you wait 6 months after your last shot, go and have the antibody test done, because that's just simple blood work that you can do at your doctor's office and things like that. And some of the testing sites, I know here in Michigan, at some of the testing sites, some of them do have the free antibody test. Now, what you can't do is the monoclonal antibodies. That is which they suspect is what Trump had. They think they gave him the infusion injection.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that that's what he
See how
received.
fast he recovered.
Yeah, exactly. And then
he's
the people
overweight, overage,
right,
and everything else. Yeah.
And then there were other people in Congress that became infected with it, and you see how fast they were recovered.
Yes.
And you remember Trump made that, I feel so much better. Yeah, he's like, we got to get this out here for everybody. Come on, man. Really?
Well, he tried to say it was the hydrochloroquine that was a lie. So, but for the average person, I think you had done the vaccinate. I mean, the research before. That injection is like $2,000-$3,000.
Mm-hmm.
So until maybe some insurance it starts getting covered by insurance or something like that, the average person would not be able to afford that treatment.
Exactly.
But some can. If you are unvaccinated and you do contract COVID, if you can afford it, then that is definitely a viable option for people who can afford to get that treatment.
And they don't allow you to. And getting the antibody test, not the antibody test, but which one was it that they were saying you couldn't get
antibodies.
Yeah, you couldn't get that to return back to work, because some people were trying to get that so that they could get excused to go ahead and be able to go back to work. They said, no, we won't give you this as an excuse to return back to work. You're going to have to go and just get regular COVID testing, and you're going to have to decide whether or not you're going to get, I guess, the vaccine, because they're not giving you both. They would not allow you to get the antibody not the vaccine, but the oh God, I lost my train of thought on that test to prove that your antibodies were low, that you wouldn't have it to go back to work. Insurance wouldn't cover it for those reasons. So you had to have had COVID.
Say that again.
Okay, so people that have had COVID and they're going to return back to work, they have to take a certain test. So they were telling them that you can't just take this test, period, unless you have had COVID, because some people were trying to just take it and use it as being able to be approved to be at work. And they said, no, you had to have already contracted COVID to be able to get that particular test to go back to work. Because once you get ready to go back to work from having COVID, you still have to prove that you are no longer a carrier and that you're no longer infected. And the only way to do that was to take that test. I can't remember what it is right now, and I don't have the material in front of me. So some people were trying to get that period to just go back, and they're like, no, we're not giving it to you just to go back to work. You have had to contracted COVID and be able to do this so that we can make sure that you're no longer a carrier and that you're no longer infected. But they were trying to use that as like an antibody thing to say, hey, see, my antibodies are high. There's no way for me to have it. So let me go back to work, and I don't want to have to take the vaccine. They said, no, we can't give it to you for that reason.
Yeah. I'm laughing because the Fly Bohemian is holding them down out there. Hold them down, girl.
She is. Thank you, girl. Thank you. Because I'm telling you, those French, they done had. I don't know what the French done had in their wine tonight, but it is definitely giving them some real courage.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They out here acting like they done had cognac and they at the cabaret, just clowning.
That's listen, the Booski squad is no joke. Vern is horrified. She's horrified.
And my whole thing is come on, if you want to say what you're gonna say, let us laugh in English. We don't understand.
Yeah, they're just playing around. It's probably maybe a bunch of kids. I'm gonna add some moderators, Vern and all of them. It wouldn't let me do it. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I'll get in there and do it. So, because see, she could cut them off at the knees right now. Yeah. So, but that's okay.
That's why we miss Nikki, because Nikki used to do that for us.
Yes. Yeah. Nikki's not here tonight.
You miss you, Nikki.
Anyway, yeah. So, okay. So those are the types of things that I wanted to make sure that we covered tonight. I just wanted to pop on for a little while, and plus me and Tanya has been MIA, and it's her fault too.
I can't believe she's gonna do that, but okay, yes.
So, but we'll be back, and we're going to continue to come back and bring you information. Did you have any other stories? Or Dr. Oz is running for Senate.
Yeah, you told me that, but I had wanted to talk about these people that are getting caught up in all these PPP scams. It's getting crazy out here. I mean, I'm talking people have gotten
down.
They have gotten millions and hundreds and thousands of PPP money, and they've gone out here and just done the silliest things. And I'm like, why would you get all that money and go out here and buy a Lamborghini? Why would you go out here and take all that money and go show up at the strip club and just act a fool, buying Rolex watches and all this jewelry? That's a paper trail. You think they're not looking for that? They like, we gave you this money to maintain your business. A Ferrari is not a tool needed to maintain your business. Being in a strip club and making it rain is not a way to maintain your business. Buying Rolex and overpriced jewelry is not a way of maintaining your business with PPP money. And there's a lot of folks out here that really needed that money and they didn't get it. And they are shutting their businesses down because they don't have the money to keep them rolling. They can't pay their employees. So it's terrible. It's terrible. And, why would you think that doing this and ripping off the government like that is cool? I'm just like, wow, why are we doing this? I mean, I found so many stories when I decided to look that up. And I'm talking people didn't get no chump change. I'm not talking no $20,000, $30,000.
No.
They got some money.
The minimum I've heard is $15,000 at least.
Yeah, I mean, they've gotten...
Even the Uber drivers and the gig workers were getting $15,000-$20,000.
Yeah, I mean, this one guy that was sent to 9 years in Texas was $1.9 million that he received. Okay, 1.9, more money than he'll probably see in many, many years. I'm not going to say his lifetime, but in many, many years. And you go out and buy a Lamborghini, and he was in his 30s. So you are just totally messed up the next 10 years of your life and thereafter over some foolishness. They just arrested and charged a couple here in Atlanta for having, let me see how much money did they get. They were, Atlanta couple pleads guilty for $1.9 million in PPP fraud. Wow. They just did one for 22 people arrested in, 4 of them were from Atlanta, but several of them were from California for an $11 million PPP fraud. $11 million, 22 people. Another one was 2 people have just been sentenced for COVID PPP money, and they are sentenced to 18 months in a federal prison for taking $285,000 in PPP money.
Wow.
I mean, and they were young, 28 years old. And the other one, they didn't say the age of the second person, but they said the first one, he's 28, Dennis Garcia. And the other person that was part of his conspiracy, they didn't list their age, but it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Another woman. I mean, it's just stupid. I mean, I know that there's crooks out there, and you're not gonna get away because there's so many crooks and things out there. But some of the stuff that we doing, that's just so stupid. I mean, I can't even have an ounce of empathy for you. That's just dumb. You know, you going out here.
But they gave a lot of. I think they're gonna crack down on everybody because they gave a lot of money. A lot of those big giant ministries, Joel Osteen, and
well, you know, Joel sent his money back.
$40 million and all of that kind of stuff, but it's still a lot of them that kept the money. And then another thing that they're cracking down on is all of these people that grabbed all of those unemployment benefits.
Yeah, that's another one.
And especially when they were paying out the extra $600 a week.
Right.
The pandemic unemployment assistance, the PUA program, they are coming for that money, people.
But see, one thing about Michigan,
listen, you better have some real good bookkeeping to justify, because I mean the PPP is payroll protection.
Right.
A lot of these people got that money and didn't even have employees.
Exactly.
Like that. So.
And it was sad that they were giving that money out that fast. Like there was some rapper here in Atlanta and he was convicted. He was one of the first ones earlier this summer. I want to say he got convicted like back in June or something. But he went out here and bought a Rolls Royce, a used Rolls Royce. It was used, but leased it or did whatever. You know, he was alleging that he had a trucking business. And he got all this money and goes out here and bought Rolex watches for him and his mate and gold chains. Went out here and I don't know if he leased. I think he leased some type of Rolls Royce, and he paid like $200,000 to lease this particular car for such amount of time, or all of these whatever. And the thing about it that is just so bananas is that they're looking, and you have to say where that money is going. Now, Michigan is a lot more liberal when it comes to unemployment as opposed to here. I can only speak for these 2 states because I know how these 2 states unemployment operates. Georgia's unemployment is very strict, strict. And we were one of the first states that cut down. They ended it.
Stimulus part of it,
They ended that, and when we started when they ended, you should have seen all the people calling.
I think y'all cut y'all's off in June or something.
Yep, we did, and people was calling back that had been laid off. Can I get my job back? Can I come back to work? Because that money was gone. But believe it or not, we still are very low for workers because people don't want to come back to work. And I don't know where they're getting this money from. I mean, unless they got a bunch of kids and they're getting a lot of that stimulus child money. Because I'm like, where are all these people?
Well, they're taking some of that money back too.
Yeah, they need to. And then, like I said, you got single folks out here.
That money back too.
You know, because like one of my, I know someone that has like 4 or 5 children, and they've collected literally like $30-something thousand in that money. And what she did do was she bought a home for her family. She says, my children need a good home. And she went and bought a house. And I was like, oh, wow. She said, you know, if this money hadn't ever come, I probably would have never become a homeowner because I could not come up with enough money to put down on it and to clear up some of my past bills. So I was like, okay, well, good for you, because I'm telling you, my kids is grown. I can't get a penny. I can't get a penny.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and I'm not being.
They're not telling the truth. Yeah, a lot of people are they're gonna rue the day that they took that money. I tell you, because
you got to be careful trying to
they
take what
are
you think is
coming.
free
They
money.
are coming for it.
Yeah, you got to be careful what you think is free money, because it's not. Everything comes with a cost. They ain't just giving that away. It's gonna come with the cost. Because like some of it, they were saying, you know, it's gonna have to be used when you report your taxes. And I think that's going to be a heavy hitter, was when people go to apply for their taxes for 2021 and having to report that money, how it could be taxed, how they're going to determine whether or not that is untaxable money, because right now it's untaxable when they give it to you. But I don't know all the ins and outs in terms of taxes involved.
It's interesting because a friend of mine who got the PPP loan has a whole business with like 12 employees. But they demanded, I want to say they, whatever it was, maybe $100 and some odd $1,000 or whatever that they gave them, they want 25 grand of it back because some of the employees were 1099 independent contractors.
Oh.
And that disqualified them being eligible
for the
maintain them throughout the pandemic, and they're still working. But yeah, they still ask for some of that money back, and they have a legitimate business, so they're like going through that money with a fine-tooth comb. They want the Fly Bohemian said earlier, they're going to give it all back to Mitch McConnell. Yeah, Mitch McConnell, he don't get that money. He's going to get that money back.
The Congress and Senate, they was the first ones in there getting the money to protect
sure
their business and their people. And I thought that
they
was
sure were.
Yeah, they were some of the first ones.
I mean, sure
Nancy
were.
Pelosi, she was one of the first ones getting a big chunk of it, protecting her businesses and her investments and stuff like that. And I'm like, really?
Yeah.
And like you said, we got so many businesses that mom and pop shops that ended up closing down because they couldn't get some money to help keep their restaurants or their stores or whatever open. But like you said, you got Congress sitting back here like a fat rat. You done got all this extra money, and like now you're happy. They should have been the first ones excluded from being able to get it. They should have never been.
They shouldn't have had.
They should have never. No.
For that at all.
And I mean, and I'm much into politics and believe that everybody should be helped, but certain stuff that's crossing the line as far as I'm concerned. To me, that is running into a situation where it is what's the word I'm looking for? When you have a business and you're trying to get money from it, what's the word I'm looking for, Deborah?
Oh, gosh, when you have a business and you're trying to get money.
Yeah, and it's a conflict of interest.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a conflict of interest. I mean, you just should not be able to get that money because it's too easy for you to get approved for it. Right. Why would you put your name in the hat when you already know you're not struggling? You're not struggling. So why put your name in the hat? So I didn't like the way that went.
Greedy, but you know, I like you said, they're going to come back for it. We got to look at that too, because I think they said probably, I don't know if that was September, October, somewhere up in there. A little over 4 million people quit their jobs. A lot of people are coming out of the market, out of the job market, and they are raising these wages and all of those things. And it's you know, driving up inflation, and it's crazy. It's so much going on. But at any rate, someone is trying to come on screen. I'm not going to let you on. You can forget it. For number one, I don't see a picture. Warren Labardi, or I'm not sure what your name is. But at any rate, we're going to get out of here and close it out for tonight. We'll be back either, you know, well, just keep the notifications on, guys, just to make sure that you know when we're going live. Generally, a Friday or a Monday is when we go live, and try to bring you information that you need and things that. And I like these forums because it gives people a chance to kind of process their feelings, and you know, sometimes it's so much going on, you don't even really know how you feel about a certain thing. So it kind of gives people an outlet to really talk things out and and things like that, and figure out, make some, because these are real life decisions that we have to make. It's not anything that we take lightly. Unfortunately, I lost control of the chat tonight, but it's okay. I will definitely take care of that moderator stuff tonight. But that's it. That's about all that I have. Tanya, you have anything else?
No, let's say goodnight to the good people.
Yeah, they are. They having a ball in the chat. I'm telling you.
Yeah, they are. But it's time for them to say goodnight, because this is not a stand-up. So
yeah,
this ain't the place. This ain't the place.
This is not the all night juke joint. Let me see. Verse Closet is saying something. Thank you all for being here. Thank you so much, Vern, my dear sister. She's just been a blessing over the past few weeks, and I appreciate you so much, Vern. Thank you, the Fly Bohemian, for holding us down in the chat tonight.
Yeah, she
Fly
was on it. Thank you, sister.
Giving them business. She was.
She was
giving them the business tonight. So that's cool. That's support. I love that. So we're gonna be back. And Vern and I have some more things happening coming up. So it's a lot that we will be doing and have to do. Tanya and I will be back probably. What you think? Maybe next Friday?
Yeah, either next Friday or Monday. We'll see which one is the better.
Yeah, we'll see what's going on. Definitely, if something breaks, definitely, if we have to, then we'll come on Monday evening as well. Mm-hmm. So, but we'll let you guys know and figure out what's what, and go from there. You want to tell everybody good night, T?
Yes, good people. It's again another good opportunity. Pleasure to chat it up. I appreciate everybody that came aboard. The good, the bad, the ugly. And everybody just, wish you all the best. Be safe out here. And we will connect with you guys next time.
Yeah, we'll definitely see you guys next week. Turn your notifications on. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Hit the like button.
And yes, give us a thumbs up, please.
Definitely.
Thank you. Since y'all took over my chat tonight, give me a thumbs up. How about that?
Exactly. Yes, at least.
That's the least you can do.
At least.
So I know. I hope that everybody got something out of it. We appreciate you. Love you, love you, love you.
All right. Good night, good people.
Good night, everybody.